back to Just Off Broadway. We're so excited you're here.
We have another amazing guest. This guy has done it all, and he's been doing it since he was a kid.
You may have seen him in Newsies or West Side Story
Or Matilda.
Speaking of, so you know how Matilda, they sing the song When I Grow Up? When you were little and people would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What did you say?
I think I've always just said, I want to perform, be an entertainer at some capacity.
I always wanted to be an actor, but when I was really little, dolphins were really cool. So I always wanted to be a marine biologist, which is
I thought you were going to say like animal trainer, like a normal
I think
child.
that's
But a marine
probably...
biologist, of course, that's what you said.
I just wanted to play with Flipper.
We want you to meet this guy. It is Clay Thomson, coolest dude. And did you know he's a gymnast?
Yes!
Should we do a back tuck really quick?
Absolutely.
Up and
That magic. Yeah. Hey, we're so excited Clay's here. We have so many things we want to ask you about.
He's on Broadway.
Yeah! I saw Newsies before I ever was involved with the show. I was like, these guys are dancing their butts off and they're incredible dancers. I would love to be in this. And so when I got the call that I was in it, I was like ugly crying, and I have it on videotape. My mom and sister were in town.
Oh my gosh.
And I got the call and my boyfriend videotaped it, and I was just like bawling.
What was it like your first day, you know, getting there,
Oh my gosh.
walking in,
Well,
being like, here I go to be on Broadway?
I got the call in the morning that I was going to be in the show, in Newsies, because I auditioned on a Sunday and we were in auditions all day. It was me and two other guys. They were like, if you get the show, you'll get a call tonight, so you're in rehearsal tomorrow morning. Monday morning, my agent texted me, and I was like, my agent doesn't text me. And then he was like, how do you feel it went? And I was just like explaining it felt good, but I didn't hear anything, so whatever. And then he called me and he was like, hey, so sometimes it doesn't work out and it has nothing to do with you. And I was like, oh darn. And like probably 30 seconds went on before he was like, oh, and by the way, you're gonna be on Broadway in Newsies. You need to be at the Disney headquarters by like noon, and you're in rehearsal at Ripley Greer at 2 o'clock.
wow.
Like crazy days. You kind of learn it in 1 week-ish, give or take, but you're really like waiting for your costumes is really what the waiting period is.
I cried watching Newsies.
Oh, I did too. Every day.
I know.
Every day. I sat on stage every day for Santa Fe, and I literally would like tear up and cry. So I was like, I'm sitting on a Broadway stage right now, and like Corey Cott, the most like gorgeous guy, sorry Chris, is like standing up there singing his heart out and like incredibly. He was like, I'm on Broadway right now. Whenever somebody else makes their Broadway debut, I always like make sure to like make sure they know like how big of a deal it is. The guys at Newsies were so supportive, and so I always make sure that I give that same respect to everybody else.
Have you had any funny moments on stage? Anything that's been like, wow, we just pulled that off?
In West Side Story with Chris Rice, and we were on stage, it was only the two of us on stage, right before Officer Krupke.
Yes,
it's
the best.
Like Baby John and A-Rab standing on stage together, the only two people on stage. Officer Krupke comes on stage, blows his whistle, and we're like freak out, and we have a scene with him, and then we sing the song Officer Krupke. A bad thing happens, and we're like scared in New York City alone as like 14-year-olds, and Officer Krupke does not blow his whistle, and he's not in the wings, and we had to like improv a scene.
Oh my god!
For it felt like 40 minutes.
Oh my god.
Alan Menken was in the audience.
What?
Which just wrote my childhood, so I was like, this is so embarrassing.
But you did
Nobody
it.
noticed.
So he didn't come out at all?
No. One of the stagehands backstage were like, you need the hat and the like
Watch
Billy Club. Yeah. So they were like in the wing like this. So Chris literally was like,
I love to hear those stories, because it happens.
There was a time where Leslie Margarita, who plays my mother in Matilda, one of the final scenes where she's supposed to come on stage, I think she just forgot her cue, but was in her dressing room without her skirt on and without her heels on. So she came running down the stairs and was like in the wing like, what, and they were like, come on, Mom. And so she came on stage without her skirt and without her heels on, and just awkwardly like hid behind a pillow.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Theater magic.
Broadway.
What was the transition like coming out of Newsies and going to Matilda?
I only did Newsies for like 2 months when I did it first, because I was just replacing somebody's injury leave, and I auditioned for Matilda when I was still in rehearsal.
How does that work? Do you have to like get that cleared by someone, or?
You can totally audition for whatever you want to. So when you sign a contract, it's typically like a 6-month contract. So you'll sign a contract for 6 months, and then after that you can either sign another 6-month contract, or you can get what's called a 4-week out. So you just have to give them 4 weeks to basically replace you, whether that means auditioning for somebody or getting somebody from the files, or and then rehearsing them and putting them into the show. So they have 4 weeks to replace you, unless I get something that would take me away from Matilda. I will be in Matilda forever.
Oh.
So don't rush, but rush, come see it.
Does it feel stressful having it, for some people I know they love that it's like, oh, the next thing is coming.
I don't know if it's stressful. I mean, I definitely would love to know what happens next. I don't want to be out of a job for a long time, but that's our industry, is the unknown. So that's exciting. It gives you a rush and gives you a drive to go to the next audition.
How do you deal with that? Do you like to meditate? Do you do yoga? Whatever happens, it'll be great.
I always tell myself before I go into auditions, you are not going to get the job. When you go into that audition, if you already know, I'm not going to get this job, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Nothing. You just get to go into that room, and whether you're dancing, you get to dance for these people that came to see you dance.
Yeah.
So you get to dance for an hour or whatever, or you get to sing your 32 bars and do what you get to show people what you love to do. Especially you're not going to get the job, so why not just perform and do what you love to do?
You do a lot of dance classes and master classes, and what's that like?
Love teaching. Schools, high schools or dance schools will come to New York and come see Matilda and have a dance class.
What?
And so it'll be an hour-and-a-half class. In the first 20 minutes, they'll learn a cut of Revolting Children, and then for the next hour, we teach them a dance to Revolting Children, and then for the last half hour, 20 minutes, have a Q&A and just get to talk to them, and if they have any questions about living in New York City, being on Broadway, whatever they want to ask.
What has living in New York City been like?
I love New York. Sure, the tour, the Times Square can get a little chaotic, but if you want to go into Times Square, you can go into Times Square, and if you want to avoid Times Square, you can totally do that too. And Central Park is just blocks away, and from anywhere, a subway ride away from anywhere. Thursday mornings, we have the Broadway Softball League.
Yes!
And so each Broadway show has a team, and they each play against each other. And so I'm on the softball team, and we get to play. This past week, we played A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. The week before, we played Phantom of the Opera. We played, Tony Danza was the pitcher for Honeymoon in Vegas, casual. 1, never thought I'd be playing softball. 2, never thought I'd be playing softball against Tony Danza.
No big deal.
We're 5-3, so we've won 5 games. We've lost 2.
That's good.
We lost to Kinky Boots.
We won't say anything.
Again.
We have to be in the middle.
I know, it's true. We do have to be in the middle.
Yeah,
That's
Jake.
true.
Jake beat me in Hunger Games, so I'm still bitter about that. He's the winner. He won all of Broadway Hunger Games.
Why do I not know?
It's a fan-run competition where it's one person from each Broadway show. So I was representing District Matilda. First it was District Matilda against District Something Rotten. So I was against Christian Borle, and I beat him.
Oh!
We're friends. It's
We
okay.
love Christian.
It starts with 2 teams and it goes down and down and down. It's all on Twitter. So you just have to tweet I vote Clay Thompson for District Matilda to win #BWay Hunger Games. Jake won. I can't believe he didn't have a crown. I would have been da, da, da.
Maybe he wasn't wearing his crown.
Just humble,
yes.
That thing that just really ignites your soul.
I like doing projects on my own, on the side of whether I'm working or not. Just creating my own work or between jobs, and all you're doing is your side job, where you're working at a restaurant or whatever you're doing. If you're not being creatively fulfilled, then that's why not create something yourself? If you're not in a show, create something yourself. Chris, my boyfriend, makes these tap videos. You guys should have him on here.
Yeah, we'd love
Do
that.
an episode, we could squeeze all 4 of us.
Yeah.
Done.
Next time on.
Chris is a swing in Book of Mormon. And so he was sitting backstage and he wasn't on for a week or 2. And he was listening to music, and he was listen to the Cup song from Pitch Perfect. He was this would make a really cool tap dance. Just see what happens. And we literally just got a studio in Pearl Studios and filmed this thing. Memory chip ran out, our battery died where we had to run to Staples. It was totally so we were just doing this for ourselves.
Yes.
Wanting to get something on tape. And we have 2.5 million views on YouTube.
Yes, we do.
So totally out of nowhere. We were just gonna do it for ourselves.
Dance training.
Started doing gymnastics when I was 2 or 3. As much as you can do in gymnastics. They hold your feet up and they're you're doing a handstand. 8 or 9, I started taking voice lessons. And my voice teacher when I was like 11 told me like go to New York, audition for the national tour of Oliver. So I went and I got through all the singing cuts, all the acting cuts. It came to dancing and I'd never danced before. And so they were like, go home and take like, if you want to be in musical theater, you should be a triple threat. So go home, learn how to dance. So I did, and I like took tap jazz ballet, came back 6 months later and I ended up getting the show. Did the national tour of Oliver when I was 12. And then it wasn't until after I got off the tour that I like really started dancing. So like high school was like when I really like buckled down. It was like 30 hours a week, just like right when I got out of school till late at night.
Favorite number in Newsies and favorite in Matilda?
Seize the Day was the most fun to do. I mean, it was hard, don't get me wrong. But getting to like, just like do toe touches and then there was like the big fight in the middle and then it was so fun to do. Matilda, when I grow up, those swings are like so fun to do. But I don't swing anymore as Michael. I don't get to be on the swings because I have to do telly right before that. Loud is probably one of my favorites as well.
What advice would you give to kids that are leaving high school or college and moving to New York City?
Do not give up. This industry is hard, as like we all have our ups and downs. So do not give up and don't let a bad day like affect, like if you had a bad audition, you're like, I'll never.
I'm literally about to cry.
Don't let a bad audition like affect your whole career because really like what I was saying before when you go into an audition, stop it!
I don't know why this is happening. I'm sorry.
We promised there would be tears sometime on the
Just-
show. Minutes today?
Oh no,
I
not
just
for
love
me.
that. No, I just love
Oh.
it. That's what people need to hear to keep going.
Yeah. Okay, I had one bad audition, they're gonna remember it next time. I promise you they probably won't. When you go into an audition room, also thinking you're never gonna get the job, you should always tell yourself, then what? So if I have the worst audition in the world, I crack on every single note, then what? Are they not gonna bring you in for the next show? Probably not. Like, you can still go to the open call and see like, show them like, oh, I just had a really off day. Like, even if it was a terrible day, be like, that was totally not what I do. Go into the next audition and like blow them away and they're like, oh, remember that one time she like blew us away? They're like, bring her in next time for the next thing. So just like, always think, then what? Because you have the worst audition in the world, then what? You're literally not going to die in the audition room, I promise you. When you're in the waiting room, like have your prep work done and have like your time in the waiting room just to be like, okay, you know what, after this, I'm gonna go have lunch with a friend and or I'm gonna go lay out in Central Park or I'm gonna go play with my dog. Don't let that one audition be the only thing you did that day. I'm gonna go home and sit by myself. Never work. No, like go like have margaritas with a friend.
Yes.
Only if you're 21 and over.
Thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
duh,
you so
thank you
much.
guys.
This is so great. Sorry about so much.
No, oh my god, I'm sorry. You
Did
can.
it.
You can do it. And what you can also do is go right here and buy tickets to see him in Matilda. Your website,
Follow
right
on
here.
Instagram and Twitter.
I love social media.
See you next time
Yay!
at Just Off Broadway.
She. Oh.
Thanks, Mickey Mouse. We're all Disney kids.
We are all
You
Disney
are?
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, you're Disney.
Yes. That was perfect.